Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official episode of the Move Mountains podcast. This is your host, Avi Sohi. And before we really get into things, I just wanted to express my gratitude for all of you who are listening. I've been wanting to start a podcast for a really long time now, 3 years to be exact. But honestly, I kept using busyness as an excuse. And, last week when Kobe Bryant passed away, it was a huge eye-opener for me to just really get the ball started on this and to just go with it. The Mamba mentality was something that really influenced my athletic career as well as my career in business. So seeing him go so soon, I was just like, you know what, like, I gotta just start this thing. So that last rant I posted was about a minute long. That's kind of like my trailer for what's to come. But to really get the ball rolling on this thing, I wanted to start off by just sharing my journey. A lot of people ask me like how did you do it? How did you start a business? What were the steps you took? And in this podcast, my hope is to really just address that and inspire other young people who are reluctant to start their own business. Things really started off for me back when I was in grade 12. Honestly, had some really, really, really good mentors in my teachers at the time. So my rugby coach, he approached me and was like, Avi, you're a great leader, you're an awesome guy, really just pumped me up one time. And that was right before the summer. So grade 12 summer going into university, I get this super dope pep talk and I'm just like hella motivated. I had helped build that rugby program in that school for 2 years. So going away that summer, I was kind of scared. I was like, damn, I'm leaving the school. Is the team still going to be good? What can I do to help? So after that motivational talk, I told him, I was like, man, I still want to help out with the program. Maybe if you can tell some of the kids, I'll train them over the summer. And off a whim, right? It was just a simple thing like that. I was going to work out myself on the fields because my goal was to make York University's rugby team. That's where I was had accepted my offer to go to. So I ended up enrolling in York University's kinesiology program, which is heavily based in health science and, just learning about the body. So I was like, why not? Why don't I just train myself all summer and invite these high school kids and just train them too? And that's literally how things got started for me. I started a little Instagram page because that's when Instagram was just starting off. Started a Snapchat and I just made videos while working out all summer. Started posting them and lots of people were seeing it. And then other athletes started hitting me up and they were like, yo, we want to train with you. It was so simple. It sounds like I'm saying it so simply, but that was how I kind of kickstarted my mindset into being an entrepreneur. So I started my kinesiology degree September 2012, finished 2016. So in those 4 years, I grew that Instagram page I had just mentioned from 0 followers to 15,000. All I was doing was just kind of broadcasting or highlighting my journey. Rugby was a huge part of my life. It afforded me opportunities to travel all over Ontario, playing against different universities. And I even got to coach my old high school team abroad in Ireland and in Scotland, all while being still a student athlete, learning about the body. And it was just, my mind was just being shaped around coaching while learning the science of the body in the background. So it was just awesome. And then I had this platform where I was just kind of sharing what I was learning. And then eventually people that weren't athletes started to message me like, hey, Avi, do you train other people? And At the time, I was like, I don't know, like, do I? I wasn't qualified. I didn't have any certifications at the time, but I was definitely passionate about it. So I kind of just went with it. You know, some people had asked me to train them in their homes. I did it. They paid me around like 20, $30, which was, for me at the time, that was my gas, that was food. Like, that was big. 20, $30 is big for me in 2012. And then that summer, 2013 summer, I was like, okay, I really do like training. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a job in a gym and I'm going to get certified. So I got the certified personal training designation through something called CanFit Pro. That allowed me to get a job at a corporate gym called LA Fitness. And honestly, I thought that was going to be like the peak of my career at the time. Because it seemed like such a perfect scenario. I was like, okay, I can just be in the gym all day, every day. That's awesome. But when I got hired, I thought I was getting hired as a personal trainer, but these guys had me just selling personal training to just train with like a random person that I hadn't even met at the time. So I was like pushing sales on personal training, but I wasn't passionate about it because I didn't even know who they were going to end up training with. And it was just like a really weird, like, corporate money-making scheme that I didn't really enjoy being a part of, to be honest. And it was kind of like deterring my passion for training in the first place. Eventually, I was able to kind of negotiate my way into a personal training role, which took me till about 2014. So I was with that company for a little over a year. And in 2014, still while in my undergrad, I was actually at that point where I was training people. And what I realized was that the corporate system is designed to kind of like not really allow you to excel financially. For example, if there was somebody that was paying like $80 for a personal training session, the trainer would only get maybe $8, maybe $10 out of that. So it was pretty absurd. Yeah, that was a whole year of my life where I was just like, damn, like I thought this was going to be sick. But really it just was kind of this like black hole that trainers get sucked into, and some of them, they never leave, because they're content with that. But I didn't want to live that life. I experienced some weird situations there, one of which, my final straw, was really just witnessing an individual have a heart attack in that gym, and me and a colleague were actual first responders to that situation. I don't really want to get too much into depth about that, but long story short, me and a colleague did CPR on someone. The guy eventually lived, and he was having a heart attack. He eventually lived, and that was the day where I was just like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm out. If that isn't a sign, then what is? So I had actually resigned that day, and that was when I really committed to building something via social media. I realized how much potential was there, and I just started kind of like marketing myself in a way where, yeah, I was still a student, but I was marketing myself in a way where I could train people in their homes, I could train them at parks, I could kind of like discreetly train them at the bigger gyms. You're not really allowed to do that, but I did that because I was just so passionate about wanting to help people reach their goals. That was huge for me, coming from an athletic background. It was like, man, I have so much to offer. And on top of that, I have all this knowledge I'm learning. So I'm like, shit, like I have so much I could be helping people, because the everyday person doesn't know that, like a 15-minute light jog could help improve their risk for having blood pressure. They don't think of it that way. They just focus on the aesthetic goals. So I spent a large time early on in my personal training career just trying to like shape mindset. So if we're thinking about the timeline right here, 2012, fell in love with training, started my undergrad degree. 2013 to 2014, I was in the corporate gym. 2014 onward, I branded myself on social media and I built a huge following. Um, and that's where kind of business really started to take off for me. And I realized that I could make myself a legitimate career out of this. So I focused on finishing my undergrad, but I actually ended up renting my first space in Brampton. I was in an area called Dixie and Orenda. If you guys know, Benchmark Sports basketball gym in the city. So it's got like 2 basketball courts there, and there was like a 200 square foot room that I turned into a little mini gym. You know, there was a squat rack, there was a couple machines. No, that's a lie. There was one machine, one bike, a squat rack, and honestly, for me, like that felt like a huge accomplishment at the time. I was only 21 when I had started that, and it was a short-lived experience, but still, I lasted 2 years in that scenario, and I'm gonna get a little bit into that right now. In those 2 years where I was actually subleasing the space, I learned a lot about myself as an entrepreneur and as a person. I learned that I had an ego, that I was kind of like feeding with this social media kind of presence. I let my social media numbers dictate my success versus the financials. You know, when I look back at it, there wasn't really a single month where I was actually profitable, which kind of sucked, but you know, you live and you learn. I lost a lot of money doing what I was doing in the past, but again, you live and you learn. I still had my immense passion for training, so I was helping people out. I was building my network. When I was in that basketball gym and really active on social media, I was meeting professional basketball players, you know, guys that are playing currently in Spain, guys that are currently playing in the NBA. Like, I got to meet some really, really dope people, and I don't really regret going through all that, because it really did shape my character and help me become more resilient as a business owner. Because I don't know, for some reason at that time, I just thought that like you had to suffer in order to be a business owner. But later I learned that suffering versus like bleeding out and losing all your money is 2 different things. So, yeah, man, I spent like 2 years just really trying to grind it out and try to make this thing work, but it just didn't. That's the bottom line. It just didn't. You know, I tried to help other trainers in that same 250 square foot spot build a career. You know, I was trying to like help people through my platform, but I wasn't even making money. So who am I to be helping others in that point? So I wasn't even putting myself on first, you know? So it was a really weird 2 years of my life where I was just hella confused. And then one of the worst, but one of the best things in the world happened to me January 2018. So January 18th, 2018 was the exact day where I was in a car accident. I was stopped at a red light. I was just minding my own business, waiting for it to turn green, and somebody had actually driven their car right into the back of mine. I suffered really bad whiplash and a severe concussion, which basically honestly derailed almost that entire year. It was crazy. Like I thought I was, you know, gonna finally make things work in 2018 in terms of my business, and then boom, I get into this accident, and now I'm like, holy shit, like what's up? Like, what am I gonna do? I still had the business at the time, and I was outsourcing like all of the people I was training to other trainers, and I was making zero money. I was bleeding out, and I had no idea what to do. But I knew I needed to get healthy as a step one, so I reached out to a doctor that I trusted. Her name was Dr. Ashley Sweeney, and I reached out to her and her company, which is called the Trinity Health Collective at the time. I reached out to them. I went there, and I started my healing journey with them. And man, like my life, that was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life, to go there and not any other clinic, because this doctor, I can confidently say, like, saved my life. I was in a super dark place. I wasn't even able to step outside without sunglasses and a hoodie on, or even look at the sun for that matter. You know what I mean? Like, the concussion was that bad. I couldn't eat. I was losing all my strength, Had a lot of like low back, hip, neck, wrist, forearm, like just all these injuries, and I was in a really negative space where I didn't even allow myself to like heal. A lot of it was more mental than anything, where I just like said, screw it, I'm gonna just sit here and mope, and if you're somebody who's been in a dark place during your time on this planet, you know what I'm talking about. People have experienced that feeling. It's lonely, it's filled with, like self-sabotage, and it's not the best thing in the world. But I was in that spot for a while. I want to say like 8 months to be exact. But without these people, man, without the Trinity Health Collective, without the doctors, without, the martial artists that they have there, and, just all the good vibes that they have there, like, I don't know where I'd be right now. Long story short, after I was healthy, around September-ish, the Trinity Health Collective and Dr. Ashley, they actually offered me an opportunity to work alongside them to rebuild myself in terms of my physicality and business. I was given an opportunity to just like create something, and it was like the best feeling in the world. I can't even explain it. Like, when I think about it now, it was like I was literally sitting in like a dark room. And I was just waiting for a phone call, because I was told that I was going to get this phone call for an interview potentially, and I got the phone call, and it was like I was just given this opportunity. It was just handed to me. It was like, hey, like, we need a trainer in our gym. Like, if you're interested, let me know. And I just immediately sprung up. And that was the first time I felt alive in 2018. It was like, holy crap, like, I have a second chance. I have a second chance to reinvent myself and just like do this alongside people that I actually want to be around. So the guy who gave me that phone call, his name was Nick Batista. And it's crazy because like I had actually met him 10 years prior, back when I was in grade 9. When I was in grade 9, he was initially starting off his business and was going to different high schools teaching Muay Thai, which is a martial art that teaches striking through punching, kicking, kneeing, and elbowing. But yeah, he had come to my high school, and he was actually one of the first people I saw that was like really doing it up in the sense of entrepreneurship. So it was just crazy because everything went full circle. This guy gives me the phone call. He tells me that they need someone, and I end up meeting up with him. And, over the next 4 to 5 weeks, I'm with them now, and they're helping me create my company, Gravity Athletics. So my company, Gravity Athletics, operates within the Trinity Collective. So I get to share space with these martial artists, with these doctors, and just like awesome humans every single day. To recap, my journey started as just a kid who loved rugby. I loved it so much that I wanted to train kids. That passion led me to completing my university degree, learning kinesiology, learning the science behind movement. That passion led me to wanting to share, my craft with the community as a personal trainer, however I could, at people's homes, like I said, parks, Anywhere I could train someone, I did it. And then that passion led me to an opportunity with people who are doing it in a professional setting, people who have created sustainable businesses and people who are just honestly good. I had a lot of negative relationships in the past, but man, since I started with the Trinity Collective, I can't tell you how much I've grown as a person. My wife has seen it all, happen in front of her eyes, and she can attest to that. My mother, my whole family, everybody's seen me just kind of evolve in the last couple of years, and largely it's in thanks to my amazing colleagues at the Trinity Collective, so yeah, like that's kind of where I am now in life. I'm working every single day alongside, a Muay Thai program, a Jiu-Jitsu program, other personal trainers, doctors of chiropractic, massage therapists. Like, it's just like I'm living my dream that I had imagined for myself 10 years ago. And the craziest part is that I'm only just getting started, I've built something so big in the last year, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait to reach my final goal. Entrepreneurship is extremely scary, yes, but at the same time extremely rewarding because, you get what you put in. If you don't put in the work, you're not going to get anything. But if you work exceptionally hard and exceptionally smart, you can really, really, really make a dope career for yourself. And that's where it really came down to me, like one of my favorite quotes of all time is that hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. I'm going to leave you guys with that today. This is my story, this is the truth. This is how I've got to where I am today. And I hope that this podcast, really inspires someone to follow their dreams, because I followed mine and they took me somewhere where I can actually provide, for my wife and for myself. And yeah, peace and love to everyone again. One love.